Now, you also started talking about some various personality traits and how those come through. And you just released, a month ago, a new program, Understand Yourself?
Understandmyself.com.
Understandmyself.com.
Yeah, and I also put up a discount code for your people for that too. So it's Willink again, and it's 20%. That would make it about $7.95, so it's pretty cheap. What you do is you answer 100 questions. The questions are pretty standard, like they've been derived from the standard scientific literature, partly from a test that I designed, that my students designed about in 2007, Colin DeYoung, who's now a professor at the University of Minnesota. And we statistically analyzed this question set so we could break out 5 major personality traits, and those are the standard traits that psychologists believe are reliable and valid. And they've been working on that since about 1960. And so that's extroversion, and that's it breaks into 2 aspects. So extroverted people are assertive and enthusiastic. It's the positive emotion dimension. They're talkative, and they like to be in social groups. They like to plan parties. They like to talk, and they're smiley and so forth. And then there's a negative emotion dimension, neuroticism, and people who are high in neuroticism that can be broken into withdrawal and volatility. And people who withdraw have a lot of anticipatory anxiety, so they might shy away from doing something. And volatile people are kind of touchy, they're easily set off. So agreeableness, agreeable people are compassionate and polite, and disagreeable people are tough and blunt. And so women are higher in agreeableness than men, and they're higher in negative emotion as well. Conscientiousness, which is the best long-term predictor of life success after intelligence. Conscientious people are dutiful, and so they're industrious and orderly. And orderliness is a good predictor of conservative political philosophy, by the way, or political affiliation, along with the last dimension is openness. And open people are interested in ideas, so that's intellect, and creative, and we call that open. It's openness to experience is the main trait, and the creativity trait is openness proper. So this report gives you a comparative description, so you compared to other people on all 5 of those dimensions plus all of those 10 aspects, and that can help you understand who you are. And that's very useful, because one of the things you want to do in life is figure out what your temperament is, so that you can find a niche in the economy or in the social world that you're suited to. So like if you're an introvert, well, computer programming is not a bad idea, or accounting or something like that. But if you're extroverted, you've got to be out with people. And if you're high in negative emotion, you're going to want a job that's not too stressful and that's fairly secure. And if you're open, then you're an entrepreneurial or creative type. And if you're agreeable, you should be working with people. And if you're disagreeable, you should be working with things. And so, anyways, the reports detail all of that.
And so then once people see where they fall out, they can kind of put themselves into a better position, like you said, a job that suits them, and that's going to be beneficial.
Well, that's it.
Obviously
Well, that's
beneficial.
it. It's you do have a temperament, and there is a place for each temperament in the economy in the world, because otherwise they wouldn't exist. And so the issue is, what is your temperament? So if you're high in openness, you need to engage in something creative, because you won't be healthy if you don't, because it's like if you're like a tree with different trunks, it's like that's one of the trunks. It might be the major one. You can't let that thing die, because it'll take a big part of it with you. And if you're disagreeable, say you're a competitive type, and so you're going to need some of that in your life. And if you're conscientious, that's a really good predictor of military performance, by the way. Then you need a routine, and you need to be locked on to some task, because otherwise you'll consume yourself with guilt. So it's very important to understand who you are in that way, and it's also important.
That's